had high hopes for Bad Brother last night, but I still feel like he wasn't quite evil enough. We're all hoping for another Halloween twist tonight. Big Brother UK 2025, episode 29, and the housemates wake up to find out that Bad Brother has kidnapped Big Brother and locked him in the garden. Big Brother's henchmen are Richard, Tasia, and Frida. I wonder how they picked him. I wonder if it was at random, but I thought they've obviously made Richard a henchman because he's not very evil. Bad Brother captured 4 of the housemates and it showed them some quotes from the house. If they guessed who said it, they got to pick somebody else to get gunged, and if they got it wrong, they got gunged themselves. Now this had so much potential. I was like, oh yes, there's going to be some drama. It fell a bit flat. Bad Brother showed the house that Jenny says, oh, 1 minute you're saying you don't miss your ma, and then you do. What is it? But they could have went on to say that she says, oh, he can F off or whatever. That would have caused some drama. Well, technically it wouldn't have caused drama because Cameron wouldn't have said anything, but at least they would know that she's been talking about him behind his back and not to trust her as much as he does. They showed that Caroline said Tay is a crybaby and a pussy. I do not know how they didn't get that because she's constantly calling everybody pussies in that house, as she said herself. And they showed that Sam said to Nancy, oh, we really played the game today, babe, or something along the lines. So overall this task wasn't too bad, right? But it could have been so much better, and I think they won 5 keys. Richard was trying his very best to be evil, bless him, and he had to walk into the living room and they had to put rubbish all over it so that the housemates would have to pick it up. And he was saying to Big Brother, oh, I'm not evil, but I'm going to play the best part. Frida walked into the bedroom and told them all to get out of bed, and who's the one still lying there? Jenny. How many times have we heard Jenny complain that she's starving and moan about the fact that they failed the task? Why did they really fail the task last time? Because Jenny, Sam and Cameron ate other people's food and it extended the time of the task. 2 hours would have been a piece of piss. But yet, she's got the fucking cheek to lie in bed and be like, oh, fuck off or whatever. I'd be like, Jenny, see if we fucking fail another task because of you, I swear to fuck. Honestly. I mean, it's one thing for people to make mistakes, right? And it's one thing for time to be extended because they ate chocolates or whatever else. But they're in a brand new task. They've been fucking moaning about being starving for ages. And then she's still lying in bed like, oh, possibly going to fail the task. They don't know what they're going to fail the task over. So Frida says, do star jumps, and she's like, just moving her arms, and I thought, what the fuck's the point? The other day, Cameron was in the diary room saying that he was nominated by Elsa because she says he was sneaky, and he says this is a rumour that Caroline started, and if you're going to believe Caroline, I can't help you. So, Caroline in that episode says to him, oh, I didn't start that rumour, it wasn't me. Cameron then went to Zila in this episode and says, oh, Caroline says that she didn't start that rumour. And Zila says, oh, I've sat here and heard her say it over there. Now, I'm not saying that Zila didn't hear her say it first, right? But as far as I remember, we seen Zila say it first. And it's possible that he heard that for Caroline. I don't know. I wasn't there. Maybe he said it at the time, right? If he says it at the time when he was in bed, you can let me know. But we know that Zila was sitting talking to Sam, Nancy and Elsa and pointing out that this was happening. So Zila could have says, oh, I heard Caroline saying that, and then I was talking to Sam, Nancy and Elsa and I was saying the same, like, what do you think kind of thing. But he didn't even mention it. The henchmen were sent into the basement with a phone and they had to select specific housemates to get punishments. They chose Caroline to throw her eyeballs over the garden wall, never to be seen again. Now, I thought this was perfectly fair because she's been fucking going on about Richard taking her eyeballs and going on about these fucking eyeballs since the very beginning. So it's like, right, fine, just take Caroline's off her. They made Sam wear a stinky suit and follow Nancy around, which was fair enough. They chose Caroline to have bad luck, which involved her either losing a photo from home, losing nomination privileges, or something else. So she lost a photo from home. And then they had to choose somebody to have bad luck. So yesterday I didn't see the first look because when I was on my break in work somebody came in to see me and I forgot to watch it. But people were thinking that this was going to be a Halloween twist and that somebody was going to be evicted from the house. Now that would have been drama, right? It wouldn't have been fair, but it would have been drama. But it turned out that Emily got her letter from home shredded, and even though she was crying and stuff, and she's like, it's fine, only seen my mum 2 weeks ago, like, I'm not bothered, right? But as we know, usually when they get their letter shredded, they've got a copy of it. There'll be a chance for her to get it later. But Richard was point blank like, no, I'm not phoning, I'm not taking part in this. He was going to sacrifice his own letter. And Bad Brother was like, no, you need to pick somebody. So he wouldn't make the phone call, right? So he says to Frida, right, you're going to have to make the phone call, you're going to have to shred the letter. And then, as soon as Frida was out of there, she says, oh, Richard didn't want to take any part of it. He was refusing. And this is the first time that Richard has ever blatantly turned around and refused to do what he's told, right? And she says, oh, Bad Brother told you to sit down. He's like, oh, I know what Bad Brother said, but I said I'm not getting involved in this or whatever. And he obviously felt really, really bad, right? The way that Frida threw him under the bus was absolutely bizarre to me. Okay, she didn't want Emily to think that it was her idea for her to get her letter shredded or whatever, but it was just really weird. So they won 15 keys, and it was Richard's chance to try and open the box to save Big Brother, and he dropped the first key in the hole in the crate, and they were like, no! Imagine that had been the actual key. That would have been drastic. But he managed to open it, they saved Big Brother, they got the luxury shopping budget. So Cameron was asking Richard if he took pleasure in taking Caroline's eyeballs, and he's like, obviously, right, she's been fucking out for him since day one. Sam was in the diary room saying that Zela's girlfriend had gave him a pass to like experiment or whatever if he met somebody in the house that he liked, even though we don't actually think that's the case, because Zela's girlfriend's been on live saying Zela thinks that Sam's kidding on, and if I got a phone call with him, I would tell him that Sam's being serious. Obviously, there's some crossed wires going on here. Tasia, Cameron, Tate, Zela and Marcus were in the snug talking about Richard, and finally somebody actually said, do you know what, I think that this thing with Caroline and Richard has gone too far now. And I don't know what the conversation was beforehand, but Tasia was the one who says there's a bit of a witch hunt going on here. Like, they're all saying it's got to the point now where it's not funny anymore. So they were saying, think about it. Caroline has been against him since day one. She literally called him the Antichrist in this episode. The other day, she was calling him a Bible basher. She's constantly going on about his religion and slagging him and saying he's born and all that. She doesn't even get to know him. And then they're saying, well, why did Nancy and Sam vote for him? Because they're saying that he's a game player. And that's what Caroline's always saying. And she's the biggest game player in the house, right? So then it's clicking with Zela. And he's like, do you know what? I'm going to go and speak to Sam. So he goes to Sam and says, oh, I want to talk to you. And Sam's like, oh, I want to talk to you too. Thinking, oh my God, this is that. Zela wants me, right? But no, instead Zela zapped him down and says, oh, do you know what? Like, when you were nominating Richard, you were given reasons that Caroline would give, and it seems as if like, you're being influenced by Caroline, right? So this has really upset Sam, because he goes to Nancy and says, I was bullied at school and I don't want anybody to think like that's the kind of thing I would do. And to be honest, right, I don't think that Sam and Nancy have actually been bullying Richard, but they've obviously seen more in the house than we've seen. And okay, maybe they're influenced by Caroline because she's their friend, and people are influenced by their friends, right? Even I can be influenced by my friends at times. Now, as for Sam saying that he was bullied at school and he would never want people to think that he was a bully, as we know, hurt people hurt people. In my life, I've seen many occasions where somebody has been a victim or has been bullied or whatever, and then they turn out to bully other people, not even realising that they're doing it. And I'm not talking about bullying the bully back, I'm talking about bullying other people, as they would say, like when you're at school, like lower on the ranks or whatever, right? It happens all the time. For whatever reason, Caroline thinks that Richard is at the bottom of the house because she thinks he's born, whereas in my mind, Caroline's at the bottom. I'm really glad that Caroline seems to have went into that house and found herself, and she's found confidence, and she feels like, oh, the world's big and I can go out and do whatever. But she's done it in a way where she's now got a superiority complex, and it's flat out embarrassing. Let me know what you thought of last night's episode, and just remember, save Richard, save Richard, save Richard, save Richard. Oh yeah. I'll be on live tonight. Bye.